My friends, I know you're all tuned in because you're excited to hear our friend Rob Basso from the Jabbers, and we're going to connect him right now and see if he's on the line. I believe he is. Hey, Rob, are you there? Hi, Rob.
Hey there.
Ah, there he is, man. So where are we talking to?
Here.
Where are you at tonight?
New Hampshire.
Okay, I was unclear if you were in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, so now we know.
No, New Hampshire. Yep, the great white Northeast.
And this is Sister Tracy, so now you know each other, I guess, kind of.
Hi, Rob.
Hi there.
So, we love the Jabbers, and, a lot of folks that are fans of, like, say, GG Allin, they know of the Jabbers through GG, but what some folks don't know is the Jabbers have been doing things, of course, without him as well, and it's quite the history of the band.
Yeah, I mean, Jabbers started, basically it was just Merle and Gigi and, some of their, former bandmates started out basically writing in the studio. They were playing covers in a band called Malpractice, and they played The Rat, but they were doing like Foghat and Kiss, and which most of us were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And AC/DC and Thin Lizzy, and so we came to it. Merle, GG Allin, myself, and Alan Chappell had all been playing for 8 to 10 years prior to forming the Jabbers. So we came from basically hard rock, garage band, backgrounds. So we, started with all that stuff. I mean, we all started playing basically in the, the mid 60s, early 70s. And that was, we had all those influences, especially the garage rock of like 65 to 66.
Yeah.
I mean, the Seeds and, the Trogs and all that stuff. I mean, if you really listen closely, especially to stuff like Don't Talk to Me, you can hear all that old Nuggets and Pebbles, garage rock stuff.
You had to mention the Seeds. It's like one of our favorite bands of all time. Yeah.
I love them. I mean, that's thing is, I'm a Hendrix fan too. That was one of the things the Jabbers, we liked Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
And Zeppelin and all that stuff. Mountain. I mean, Gigi was a big fan of Mountain. Probably because of Corky Lang's drumming.
Yeah, one thing a lot of folks don't know, and I got to jam with him before, but GG Allin was a great drummer.
Excellent drummer. I mean, one of the best, just straight ahead rock and roll drummers I ever had the chance to play with. I mean, always tight. I mean, always full of passion and energy. I mean, he played, with Willie Alexander in the Boom Boom Band. Willie having, briefly been in Velvet Underground.
Yeah, I remember that.
And also, we did some shows with Cheetah Chrome, and the last night, the tour, Cheetah's drummer, absconded with the money and went back to New York City, and so Gigi, with no practice, jumped up and played drums for Cheetah, and Cheetah, begged him to come drum for him. He said, "You're the best drummer I've ever played with."
I remember Gigi telling me that story. I remember that, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, we had, Cheetah Chrome, would get up on stage while we were playing I Want to Be Your Dog, and he and Gigi would sing and, stage dive, and, we were just having a lot of fun. I mean, Cheetah was fun to play with.
We just saw Cheetah, a month ago?
Yeah.
A month or so ago up in Portland.
Oh, excellent.
The Dead Boys, yeah.
He was on the
Cheetah in a long time.
Yeah, he was on the show recently.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I actually saw Gigi, I'll interject real quick. Merle Allin, Gigi's brother, who was in a band called Thrills, they opened for a lot of bands, and one of the bands they opened for was the Dead Boys. And we were there at the Paradise when it was the original Dead Boys playing. It was after they reformed in 1980, one of the first reformations.
Yeah, the liver than the. Oh yeah, okay. It was
so
before.
the Thrills were playing with Dead Boys, so we got to know them a little bit, and got to do several shows with Cheetah. I mean,
seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, super cool.
He stole my girlfriend, but no, a girl I'd asked out.
Other than that,
and then making out with him in the back of the van, it's like, damn it, man.
Wow, that really happened, huh?
Yeah, it really happened. Yeah.
Oops.
A girl that I invited, to go to a show, Cheetah ended up making out with her.
Now that's a good radio story there.
Some dirt.
That's the thing. If you've ever been, in a van, playing shows from club to club, driving for hours and things, I mean, you've got a bunch of stories to tell.
Yeah. I've been wanting to ask you, and I really don't know the history, so that's why it's kind of cool to have you on the show to ask. How did you first meet GG Allin? A.K.A. Kevin Allin to you at the time,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, I'd heard about him because, believe it or not, the town I was living in at the time, a little town called Claremont, New Hampshire, had a, probably like northern New England's biggest booking agency. And Malpractice was booked through this agency. And as a matter of fact, at the time, Aerosmith was and a whole lot of other bands. And briefly, I was in a band that was booked to the same agent. But I heard of them through that. And then, in rock scene, I saw that Malpractice had released a 45. So I knew about them from, say, about 76 or so. And then it was in early 79. A friend and I, we were down at a club in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I happened to see GG Allin the Jabbers on the jukebox. Bored to Death, Beat, 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 One Man Army. I played that record, and that record changed my life forever. I mean, I was already into the Stooges and, Sex Pistols and the whole bit. But, finally, I had been looking for years for somebody into that stuff. I mean, for a lot of people, that I grew up with, they stopped at Zeppelin and Skynyrd.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And, they're still listening to the same stuff they were listening to. And I mean, I listen to some of that stuff, but I like to dig, deeper, like into May Blitz and Captain Beyond and Dust. And
now you're talking my language.
yeah, the Seeds, Count Five, Question Mark and Mysterians, Pink Fairies, the Deviants.
Yeah, so many people get stuck on the radio fodder, the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The top, just the two songs they play off of every album, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the generation I grew up with, I even, I liked Stairway to Heaven the first 15 or 20 times I heard it. But,
right.
The last 5,000 or 6,000 times, I've really, not really enjoyed it that much.
So how long did the Jabbers perform? You guys, obviously you joined up with GG and started playing. How long did you end up playing with GG and the Jabbers?
I joined in 79 because actually I saw an ad shortly after hearing that record. There was an ad in a local free music, magazine, like a classifieds, for musicians. And GG Allin the Jabbers looking for a lead guitar player into the Stooges, MC5, Sex Pistols, Ramones, Dead Boys. And it's like, that's perfect. I wanted to play that high energy, Detroit thing. Because I bought Kick Out the Jams like within days of when it came out.
Nice.
And that was, that was absolutely the most high energy, wild, insane thing I had heard in my life.
So 79, and then it went up. Did you guys keep playing through the early 80s?
Yeah. So, I joined in 79. I left at the end of 81, just kind of tired of not getting paid, spending my money. I was living on like $50 a week. I was living in, had a single room in basically a boarding house where, half the guys were old alcoholics, and old veterans, on their disability checks. So one room I shared a bathroom with like 10 guys, a kitchen with a bunch of guys. All I had was a bed and a refrigerator in my room. So I was paying $15 a week to live there. And I had about $10 a week for groceries.
Living the punk rock lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I basically lived on about maybe $50, $60 a week. Any other money that I got went towards paying for gas to go to shows, or paying for strings, or studio time, or buying records, or
when you
music.
left the band in 81, you came back though, right?
Yeah. The band reformed. Well, we started talking about getting back together in 2000. And finally in 2001, we were able to make it happen.
Now, I was talking to one of your guys yesterday about Blood Orange Records, and that you guys have a live album out.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the name of the live album?
Live at the Rat, May, I think it's 4th, 1980, something like that, sometime in May,
so
1980.
Is GG's on that too then, right?
What's that?
So GG's on that as well?
Oh, absolutely, yep.
Oh, wow, okay.
Vocals. And actually the same show, that was one of the shows we did where we played with David Peel, formerly of the Lower East Side.
Nice, yeah.
We did a bunch of shows with him. Matter of fact, Orange Records, which was our label for the label we were on for quite a while, was David Peel's label. After he left Apple, Apple Peel, and then he started Orange. deal.
I get it. Okay, and you can get, I guess, the official Jabbers on Facebook is one place it can be looked for, and also Discogs.
Yeah. It's the Jabbers.
.com.
Well, I'm looking at the Facebook page, the Jabbers / GG Allin and the Jabbers, and then there's
Nice.
Well, we have our own separate website that's still under construction, but GG Allin and thejabbers.com. No spaces, no dots, N spelled out, AND. But we have our own label now, Blood Orange Records.
How's that live album? How's that live album sound? Sorry to interrupt you.
It sounds good. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how it was taped, whether cassette or reel to reel, and whoever was doing the taping taped the entire show, and there were 3 bands playing, 2 40-minute sets each, and so the tape ran out, and so somebody flipped the tape over and managed to, cut off like the first 4 or 5 songs.
Oh.
But the sound was great. I mean, I didn't even know we were being recorded. I don't know if any of us knew that. But it's right in the middle of Don't Talk to Me.
Well, I can't wait to hear that. And I also heard there's going to be a reissue of the Dead or Alive EP.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that I've been looking forward to because it's never been official with all 3 songs. We recorded 3 songs with Wayne Kramer and Dennis Thompson of the MC5.
Right.
And they've never been, all 3 of them, on, an official release the way we intended it, before.
Is that coming out in March?
Yeah, it should be out sometime soon. I mean, I've gotten the test pressing and still working on the cover and all the credits and stuff. But it's all mixed. It's all it's been pressed. Just working on the cover now. If you are just tuning in, this is KSKQ Radio, the Church of Rock radio show. We are speaking with Rob Basso of the Jabbers, and it's great to have you here, of course. There's a couple other things I had. Oh yeah, Wimpy. Now Wimpy's the guy that sings for the Jabbers, correct? Yes. How did you guys get Wimpy? Wasn't he in another band too? Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, the Queers, which are probably the most well known of all the New Hampshire punk bands. Joe Queer, right? Yeah, Joe Queer. He was on the show 6 months ago. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, he actually. He sang one of my songs on our most recent release, recent studio release from 2004, American Standard. So Wimpy sings for those guys, and then he joined the Jabbers, right? Yeah, okay. Absolutely, yeah. What happened is, it was pre-Queers, but it was basically the beginning of the Queers. They actually opened for a Jabbers show at Portsmouth Naval Base in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, back in 1980. Wow. So that was their first gig, playing out, as a punk band. Was opening for us, and I can't even remember what they were called at the time, but that influenced them a lot. Yeah, obviously, GG went from, speaking of GG Allin, he went from a crazy rock and roll guy to a really crazy rock and roll guy. Yeah. What was your opinion about after he had, stopped playing with the Jabbers and he went solo and started really getting crazy and disgusting? What was your opinion about some of the stuff he was doing, man? Well, with the Jabbers, we tried to keep it, not too extreme. I mean, I know at the time it seemed like we were really extreme, but now, I go see high school punk bands and their lyrics are worse than anything we ever thought of. Yeah. Or better, whatever your perspective, yeah. But no, it's now I've lost the train of thought. It must have been an Amtrak, right? No, I just wondered what you thought about his behavior after he got really crazy. The thing is, I always, he was an extremely talented drummer. He had a really good stage charisma. He had a pretty good voice. He had an ear for a catchy melody. He could play a little guitar. He was pretty much the complete package. And one of the things we thought is as hardcore came in and things changed, GG felt that one of the things that had happened was that punk had sold out and gone new wave, and that Iggy Stooge hadn't completed his mission. And GG basically thought that, he was going to take it where, he thought Iggy should have gone, instead of mellowing out and doing all the new wave stuff with more extreme David Bowie, which we do love. I mean, we listen to it, we listen to New Values and The Soldier and all that stuff. But, GG really did think that, he'd wimped out and gone mainstream. And he said, I'm going to, take it all the way, which
he did.
I was looking at it, it's like, that's death or jail, and it's pretty much what happened, death and jail.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Well, I was wondered about what the Jabbers thought about his extreme behaviors.
But I love the energy, and I think there's still a lot of really catchy stuff, and he did have an ear for melodies, believe it or not, even though his vocals didn't always fit it towards the end.
Yeah, I wasn't into the stuff he did after, like the Jabbers got really extremely different. But he changed. He did a lot of different types of material. Oh
yeah, well he did one of the things he did not long before he died was a country record.
That's right. It was a good one too.
Yeah, GG Allin and the Southern Baptists, and GG and Merle, and actually Allin and I, we growing up in the Northeast, believe it or not, there's a lot of country music around here too, as well as the classic hard rock, a lot of country music, and but we grew up with the classics. We grew up with Waylon Jennings and Hank Williams, the first, and
the True
Johnny
Outlaws.
Cash, certainly. We loved Johnny Cash. I loved Johnny Cash from the time I was a kid. And, even when I didn't like most country, I always loved Johnny.
We've got Johnny Cash coming. We've got Johnny coming up on the show tonight still.
Excellent.
Yes, we do, and we'll throw that out for you.
Oh, right.
We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I wanted to ask what's going on in the future with the Jabbers. What's happening with you guys? Anything we should know about coming up?
The near future.
Yeah, well, we've got multiple releases planned. We've got 6 or 7 releases planned, mostly reissues, but some previously unreleased stuff, alternate takes, songs that we just didn't think fit, but in retrospect really should have come out.
Yeah.
So we're going to do like bonus tracks and make sure that there's lots of good cover artwork. But
nice.
So right now we have between stuff we've already released is just releasing now. We have about 7 items on our website, and there'll be more. There's maybe another 5 releases planned right now.
Yeah, I noticed on your Facebook page that you guys mentioned that you're trying to get a lot of the, some reissues and stuff out because a lot of bootleg,
and also,
stuff
there is
out
a possibility of some new recordings.
Nice.
We haven't done anything for a while, but those of us that are surviving have been open to it. We recently lost our drummer, a longtime drummer, Mike O'Donnell.
He was supposed to come on the show. Him and I had been talking, and I dropped the ball on that one. But he was supposed to come on, and I dropped it. And then I found out he passed away, and I felt bad for not getting him on the show before that.
Yeah, he was a good guy. He played drums for the Jabbers longer than anybody.
Wow, I should have had him on the show.
He joined in I think '83. And, when the Jabbers broke up in '84, he actually played with GG for a while in some of his other configurations after the Jabbers, whose name I can't even say.
Yeah, but, I get it. Well, it's been great talking to you, dude. Thanks, so much for making the time to come on our show. I know it's late there on the East Coast, but it's really great talking to you. Big fans of the Jabbers here, and, we appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, and please keep us posted, on any future releases. Keep us posted on what the Jabbers are up to. We'd appreciate that.
And we're hoping to do some shows, but, right now it's dependent on getting one of our original drummers that we haven't played with since like 80 or 81, but we're hoping to do some 40th anniversary shows. That
would be awesome, bro. Well, we wish you nothing but the best of luck, Rob, and thanks a million for the great music.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, rock on, my brother. Thank you.
Yep, thanks,
Bye.
Rob. We're going to keep going here at the Jabbers and do a little Vampire Girlfriend.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Take care.
Yep, no problem.
You're at KSKQ and the Church of Rock with Vampire Girlfriend. It's the Jabbers with Wimpy on the vocals at the Church of Rock.
1, 2, 3, 4.